It's hard to believe that at this point it's been well over a week since we learned about the Order in last week's update, and it's even harder to believe that in less than a week we're getting our next storyline update in our last update overall for Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 2. This update should be massive. We'll get new quest logs, we'll get new leaks, we should get new files and assets that are put into the game, which should at least give us some sort of direction as to where this event is going to go. So by all accounts, a pretty big update. Yesterday, of course, we got our first glimpse of Doomsday device activity over at Loot Lake, and the Origin, of course, is really concerned. We're going to go over even more of your theories, guys. Of course, keep them coming. I love to see your comments. Nothing makes me more excited than seeing you guys talking, generating a conversation, and uncovering some truth. First up, we have Twitch Skywalker, who says, "Hey Dr. P, I have a theory. So, what if Sloan and the IO are not evil, but trying to protect Jones from the Seven before they might betray him? Because what if the Foundation is just using Jones to their advantage against the imagined Order?" In the Chapter 2 finale, the Foundation saves Jones from the IO, but it's later revealed that it was only because Jones promised him Gino. The first part of this theory I'm struggling to believe because, I mean, at this point, the imagined Order have been made out to be the clear antagonist. I would think they'd be the bad guys. But there's no doubt in my mind that the Foundation dislikes Jones a lot, and there's a lot of distrust for Jones within the organization of the Seven itself. Who knows what might happen to Jones later in the future, because he is an asset to them right now, and that's why they're helping out in terms of saving him and keeping him around. But what happens when the war's over? One way or the other, it'll be interesting to keep an eye on. Next up, we have Galactic Gaming, who says, "You can just hear the dread in the Origin's voice when he says we're in trouble. We're in for it now." In the quest logs revealed for this week, you can definitely hear the Origin's dread in his voice, and I played it before, but I'll roll it again.
"You helped the Imagined contact the Paradigm. I knew I couldn't trust you completely. That being said, I've listened to the Paradigm's message. If she's right, if she really has detected energy fluctuations with that signature, we're in dire straits. I need you to pick up a sensor backpack and go to Loot Lake. Confirm, or hopefully refute her findings. Got it? That's not good. Someone get the scientist in here now. We're in trouble. Big trouble."
He's really panicking, and he even demands the scientist to come help immediately. You know, he says, "Get me the scientist now." That seems like a pretty panicked thing to say. Remember, this message about the activity at Loot Lake came from Paradigm, so now maybe the Origin will start to trust her a little bit more as we go forward. If you guys think the last Doomsday event caused a lot of chaos and mayhem on the island, I would be very, very excited about this event, because I think there's no way they would do the same event twice, or at least, you know, roughly the same sort of event twice, if the second one wasn't going to be a huge step up and a huge improvement from the last one. And the last one was still very good. Next up, we've got Sans, and of course, you already know I'm skipping right to the TLDR, just like the classic Redditor inside of me. The Elemental King lore is happening. There's a bonus ancient text theory. We know the IO has harnessed their powers, and besides that, for a power source, the most likely theory is a Caddis revival, where Singularity comes back with her mech. Bonus theory, if Caddis has new powers from the texts, Mecha could absorb the device like it did the 0 Point. If there is indeed another Caddis versus robot fight, I would expect there to be a lot of similarities between the two battles. Of course, if you remember, the mech was all for done. It was just about to lose this giant battle against the Caddis because its arm had been ripped off in a surprise attack. At the very last moment, risking it all, but in an act of triumph, the mech went down and grabbed the 0 Point, powering it up enough to actually slay the Caddis once and for all. During the original event, the 0 Point was an obvious power source, but now, with this device being thrown into the mix, it could easily be absorbed just like the 0 Point to power up the mech maybe to new heights if the Caddis has indeed gotten some sort of special abilities, extra strength, superpowers, whatever, right? Because again, it's gonna be bigger and badder than the last one. Next up, we have Dino Tribe, who says, I have been seeing glitches while playing of water in areas that it should not be in. I saw water at the entrance of the Daily Bugle. The water is way above sea level. This theory, of course, comes at a good time when, in just yesterday's video, we were discussing the possibility of yet another flood coming in after this Doomsday device event, like it did in the last one. This comment got me really thinking, and based off what I read, I decided to do a little bit of research to see if there have been any other claims of water glitches happening in general, but specifically around the Daily Bugle. Man, oh man, would you believe what I found? All over the internet, in just about every place I search, I see countless messages, threads, forums, whatever you want to call it, going over this exact same issue, right at the Daily Bugle even, showing this exact thing in motion, showing how the water is glitching to points where it looks like it's just basically engulfing the POI. Is this some sort of indicator as to what's coming next? You never really know. It could very simply and very obviously be a glitch. That is a possibility, but I don't know. I really don't know, considering all the similarities between the exact season and the chapter, the event, and so many other similarities. I mean, this could be intentional. I take that back. I don't think it's intentional, but I think maybe this might be showing their hand early, unintentionally. Let me know in the comments right now. I'm curious, if there were to be another flooded water season, right, like what we had in Chapter 2, Season 3, would you be down for that? Personally, I thought Chapter 2, Season 3 was one of the better seasons in Chapter 2, probably top 3 in my opinion, but that's just me. Next, we have Raider Forever, who says, imagine the Fortnite islands like a coin, one side heads, one side tails. Imagine the Chapter 1 map like heads. In Chapter 3, we learned that there are 2 maps, so like a coin, there has to be another side underneath. Imagine that is tails. When the 0 point exploded in Chapter 1, it created a new map. At least that's what we thought. Basically, it took half of each map and swapped them out. My theory is that something in the end of Chapter 3 will fix the map and bring us to the full tails side. So this is definitely an interesting one. If you say Fortnite Chapter 1, you think about that, you think that map had to have an alternate side, because we know that the island that we're on right now had one. It would just make sense that the Chapter 1 map also had a flip side. Since we already know the flip side of the island that we're on now is the Chapter 2 map, we know that the Chapter 1 map was dealing with an entirely different hunk of land. Is it possible that in Chapter 4 or some point in the future we'll go to that Chapter 1 Tails side, which I guess would be a blend of the Chapter 1 and Chapter 4 maps if the theory sort of keeps up? That's one we're gonna definitely have to work on as we move along, but very interesting. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, click on to the next video, tell your grandma, tell your dog, tell your cousin, your teacher, tell them all to come by for the greatest Fortnite theories around, and we'll see you in the next one.